Hi, folks. Hope everyone's doing great. If it's your first time, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this adventure about retirement, early retirement. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I appreciate your loyalty and coming back, and hopefully, finding something of value in the content I share and stories I talk about. So today I want to talk about this retirement question. I'm just out here walking on this beautiful evening. The sun is setting, and I just wanted to take this time to share with you and talk about the retirement question and what it means. A lot of people, they focus on the what. What do I have? Do I have enough? Can I retire? When can I retire? If I don't have enough, how much do I need? Where's those assets? Where should they be? Should they be in an IRA, a Roth 401k, I-bonds, liquid? But I'm not going to talk about that. Today I want to talk about the why. Why retire? For myself, it's becoming clearer and clearer. It's really about time. Not the money, but the time. And time is definitely not a commodity. We have what we have, and we don't know how much we have. Some of us may have more than others, but we just don't know. And with the time I have left, I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want, and for as long as I want, on my schedule. I don't want it to be about work, clients, patients, other people. This is about me. I want this next phase of my life, early retirement, to be about me. Early retirement, they talk about the go-go years. You've got the go-go years, which is when, if you retire early enough, you may have 5, you may have 10 good years where you can get out there and kind of do what you want. That's called the go-go years, where you're traveling, going places, seeing things. And hopefully that'll be a long time that you get to do that. But you don't know. You don't know just how much time you're going to have. It could be 1 year, it could be 5 years, it could be 20 years. Who knows? And those go-go years, they're not a given. You may have a lot of time where you're active, you still feel healthy enough to do what you want to do, where you want to do it, when you want to do it. But that's not a given. And that's what I'm talking about, is that I want this period of time to be about me and my time, my schedule, and not about work or, frankly, anyone else. I want to do what I want, when I want, where I want, and for as long as I want to do it. I don't want to have to ask for time off, get the blessing of management. Can I please take a week off, 2 weeks off, a month off? No, I'm done with that. I've worked a long time. As they say, I paid the price. And now I'm ready to do things on my terms, on my schedule, not someone else. This is about me and what I want to do. And that's the why in the retirement question. It's not the what, not the money, if you have enough, where do you put it, different types of investments. This is about the why. Why do you want to early retirement or retire at all? There's plenty of people that they just keep working. Oh, look, there's a deer out there in the field. I'm not sure if you can see. I can't hardly zoom in. I have it on stabilization, so with the camera I'm using, it's just a basic phone. I can't quite do it, but it sees me and I see it. So maybe I can get a little bit closer. So yep, it's peeking at me. Beautiful evening. Look at that. Sun's just going down over those hills off in the distance. So like I said, in retirement, they talk about the go-go years. Those are the first, could be 1 to 5 to 10 years. And then you've got the slow-go years, which is that period of time where, you're probably not doing those big hikes, going to Machu Picchu, or that famous route in Spain. I think it actually even goes into France. You're probably not doing that either. You're not going to be out there hiking for, 500 plus kilometers. You're taking it easy. You're probably taking more cruises, maybe spending more time with family. You're not probably exploring so much. That would be the slow-go years. And some people, have less time than others in the slow-go years. So we've talked about the go-go years, the slow-go years, and then the final phase of retirement is, look at that beautiful bird there. I'm easily distracted. So we've got a deer and a big bird, look like a crane flying over. So back on track. So the final phase of retirement, pretty much life in general, is what they call the no-go years. Oh, here we go. Got a deer running right across the path up in front. It's called the no-go years. And that's, frankly, if you're still alive and kicking, you're just not as live and you're not as kicking. And you're probably spending a lot more time at home and a lot less time exploring, traveling. You're just taking it a lot easier. This is what they call, the end of the road. And for some, that road is probably a lot shorter than others. And that's called the no-go years. And for myself, and probably like most of you out there, you probably want to put off those no-go years as long as possible. Whether that's 10 years, 15, 20 years, even 30 years. The further out you can push those no-go years, probably the better off you are. I'm just another guy on YouTube who, is in his later years, thinking about early retiring, watching a lot of videos, just like you as well, I'm sure. That's what happens, once we start getting close to that time when we think we can pull the plug on work and, take control of our lives again. We gave it up to corporate life, if that's what you're doing, or if you're independent contractor, now you're looking at stepping away from work, or, cutting back on work. So this first period's really should be what we call the go-go years. So you want to make the most of those go-go years. And for myself, probably you included, I can't speak for anyone else, but I imagine, you want to make those go-go years as long and productive as possible, and, some of you want to spend time with family, others want to travel, or, there's even others who want to just do something different, maybe try a new career. And just because you're retired doesn't mean you can't try something new, whether it's paid or not. There's a lot of volunteer work you can do. Even that's what I'm thinking to do myself. I have my plans to, volunteer, go places, help people, not for the money, just because I'll have time to do it. I've been wanting to do it. I've made myself available, but just never had the time to set it aside to actually, go and help other people. And that's something, I'm kind of looking forward to doing. So I want to do those, most of that in my go-go years, when I'm still, relatively healthy. And that's the other aspect of early retiring and retiring in general. And it's about the why. I want time to do what I want, when I want, where I want, and for as long as I want. But if I'm not healthy, and if I'm not mobile, I may not be able to do a whole lot. And in my line of work, I see a lot of people, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and they're just not in very good shape. They could be homebound. They could be on different medical equipment. They're just not in very good shape. Yeah, they're not working, but their bodies aren't working. Their minds aren't working. I don't want that to happen to you, and definitely not to me. So that's the other part of this retirement question. It's not about the what. Like I said, if you don't have enough money, you can always make more money. But you can't buy back time, especially quality time. When you've got the mobility, you've got the strength to do what you want, when you want, where you want, and for as long as you want. And that's what I'm talking about. That's to me, that's the ticket. Money is something, you'll never have enough of it. But time, you'll never have enough of it. So money is something you can always earn. You may not earn as much. You may have to do something different. But time, if you work too long, put that retirement off too long, put off taking care of yourself too long, it won't matter how much money you have. Money without mobility, that's not living. That's to me barely surviving. And I see many people in that situation where they have money, they have a nice house, they have a vehicle or many vehicles, boats. They can't drive their car, they can't leave their house, they can't ride their bikes, their Harleys, whatever you want. They can't take their boats out because now, yeah, they have money, they have a house, but you know what? They don't have health. They don't have their mobility. They can't do anything. They're stuck in a room. I know people that are stuck in their garage. They have all this medical equipment and they're just basically keeping them alive. And yeah, they worked, they did the responsible thing. They saved. And some of them, they finally pulled the plug on work and decided to quit. But then a lot of them just, they just wait too long for that sure thing, that money, do I have enough? Where is it? What can I buy? To me, that's not important. Once you have enough, and you'll know what that is, and you may never have enough, but that's all right too. If you can be comfortable, healthy, that's pretty good. I heard someone, I just happened to be at a bank not too long ago, and one of the tellers was talking about another teller saying, that guy over there, he doesn't want to get married. He doesn't want to have kids until he's financially stable. If you're a parent, you may never be financially stable, but you still have kids, or a lot of us do. So if we put off that time when we are financially capable, that may never happen. When we have that certain amount in that bank account, that may never happen. But there's a time when you can have a family, and there's a time when it's just going to be nearly impossible. So that's like retirement. You can have the money, but if you don't have the health and mobility and will to live, you might as well have nothing. And I don't want that to happen to me, and I don't want that to happen to you. So I'm doing what I have to get myself, healthy, stay healthy. And believe me, it's not easy. I'm not no young tomcat, so it takes a lot more work trying to keep healthy. And after a long day at work, a long week at work, it's hard to get out there and keep going and do things for yourself. But that's what this is about, the why. And it's time, and I want that time back so I can be healthy in my early retirement and be able to do what I want, when I want, where I want, and for as long as I want. And I want that for you as well. And that is really what I'm talking about today. The why in the retirement question. I appreciate you joining me here on this walk outdoors. Hopefully we can do more of it. Sorry about that, folks. I pushed the wrong button and ended the video a little bit premature, but I just wanted to say that appreciate you sticking around to the end, and hopefully we'll see each other again, and take it easy and take care of yourself. Be safe. I'll see you. Bye-bye.